Big Dash knows what?
Okay, so let's get into these day 3 picks. In the 5th round, the New York Giants select running back from Oklahoma, Eric Gray. And I'll be lying if I told you that I took a deep dive into the background, into the tape of Eric Gray, because I didn't. When it came to the running back position throughout this process, these last couple of months, and throughout the college season, I really didn't watch too many running backs at all, to be honest. But I did some research today after the pick. That's why this video is getting out so late, and I decided to put a lot of the day 3 picks together in one video. It's because I wanted to do a little bit of research, on Eric Gray, and I watched the Kansas State game against Oklahoma, and I liked what I saw with Eric Gray. And funny thing is, for me, Giants fans, he reminds me of Ahmad Bradshaw. As far as his size, his style of running. And you figure he's 5'9", 207 pounds, so he has a thick frame. But when you look at him, he's agile. He has some quickness. He's elusive, but he's not fast. He's not going to take 60, 70 yards, to the house. That's Saquon Barkley. He's not that. What he is Ahmad Bradshaw, in my opinion. He even has a little side-to-side running like Ahmad Bradshaw did. And for me, tough guy, one cut up the field, has great vision for what I've seen in just the little bit of stuff that I saw so far. But great vision. He's setting up defenders from a pretty far distance. There's one play in the Kansas State game where he sets up a juke move about 8 to 10 yards away from the safety. And by the time he's on the safety is taking a knee because he's juked him that bad. So other thing about him, had 1,300 yards rushing this season. Has no fumbles. I believe the number was like out of 565 carries, 0 fumbles for the kid. And that's something that's very, very good. Ball security, especially when you're a tough runner the way he's a tough runner, whether it's outside, whether it's in between the tackles. He can also help you out a little bit in the catching game. So Eric Gray, solid pick. There was some other people on the board. You guys know, if you watch me, I was high on Dwayne McBride. He was still on the board at the time. Chris Rodriguez out of Kentucky was still on the board at the time. And you know what? I was like, I watched those guys more than I did Eric Gray. Just seeing what he can do. Again, I only watched one full game and then a couple of highlights and some cut-ups. But again, I see an exciting player, a change of pace back, a short down back, and to me, somebody's roster spot is in trouble. I don't know if it's going to be Breda, Brightwell, or Corbin, but somebody's roster spot is definitely in jeopardy. Now, the Giants turn around and go in round 6, and they select a cornerback, Trey Hawkins from Old Dominion. Now, I took notes because, again, this is another guy that wasn't on my board. Don't know about him at all. So I did just I read some analysis on him. I read some of the prospect breakdowns. And, he's a height, weight, speed guy. Guy's 6'2", just under 200 pounds. My question is, can he develop? They said he's a physical cornerback. Again, just think about the size, 6'2", 200 pounds, physical corner. And he's a real corner, not a guy that's like a safety corner. He's a true corner, outside corner. Willing to step up in the run game or run defense and help you out. So a value pick. Again, didn't know much about him. Did a quick little study of him before I hopped on here and did a video about him. So I got to go back and look at the tape and see exactly what these guys were thinking of what they saw in him when they drafted him. Because at the time, again, doing a comparison, there was a cornerback from Purdue, Corey Trice, that was on the board too. And we picked this guy over him. But again, I did see that, some of the analysts had round 6, round 7 grade on him. And he's right up there. So again, another tall corner, has some length, the way that Wink Martindale likes his cornerbacks. And I'm not mad at that. Again, we'll see what happens with that. Can he develop? That's what I wrote down in my notes. Can he develop as a cornerback? And we see how he does and how he fits into this room. Because right now, that cornerback room is getting a little crowded. So we'll see what happens. But I welcome competition all the time, and these guys, I'm sure, welcome competition as well. So then we're down to our last 2 picks, round 7 And the first one's going to be a D tackle, Jordan Riley out of Oregon, and he's a zero tech. You know, he's a nose tackle, big guy, 6'6", 330 pounds, almost 340 pounds. Strong hands, limited in the pass rush, but good run stopping, backup rotational guy, and he's going to be fighting for a spot. You figure we already know as far as how that front goes in those positions. Ashawn Robinson, Dexter Lawrence, and then after that you got Roches Nunez, Nacho back there, and then you have DJ Davidson coming back off of injury, and now you're going to throw this guy in the mix, Jordan Riley, to probably, you know, battle DJ Davidson for some rotational snaps. Will he get a jersey every week? I don't know. And the other question is, are all these draft picks going to make the roster? That's another thing, because the roster is getting crowded, man, in all these different positions. But again, Jordan Riley, defensive tackle, you know, zero tech, nose tackle out of Oregon. Probably go back and watch some more games to see what kind of impact he had. But again, another guy that wasn't on my radar. There were guys also there. Redmond was there still. Jomo, I think, was still there at the time, or Jobo might have been there, might have been gone already. But still, curious to see how these guys are picking these players. Not curious to see how, but I'm curious to see what they saw in these players. So I'm intrigued now. And one thing I said was, like, the good thing is I don't have to do a lot of studying of players that are not on the team anymore. You know, going into this draft process, you're studying multiple players, you're researching multiple players with a chance of them being on the team. Now that the draft is over, and some of these guys that I don't know much about, I get to go back and watch and set some certain expectations of what these guys are going to be able to do or able to bring us for the team. And then the second round 7 pick, we went back to the secondary. This time it was a safety, and it was Jovarius. Jovarius Owen, safety from Houston. And again, this guy is a hard-hitting safety. The funny thing is that he's not the biggest safety. He was measured in at 6 foot, 195 pounds, so he's sub 200. But the man hits like a 200-pound safety. You know, can't play the center fielder spot. You know, he's not Xavier McKinney, but he's a guy that's going to be down in the box, making things happen, supporting the run defense and things like that. He can cover in a pinch, but that's not his strong suit. That's not in his wheelhouse to be just a cover type of secondary safety. He's more of that thumper type safety. But again, kind of like, and it's funny too, because kind of reminds me of what Nat Burhay was. For those that remember Nat Burhay when he was here, he called him the missile, because he was the same type, not the biggest guy, but hit really hard. So Jovarius Owens, you know, special teams, is he the gunner type that we're looking for, especially when you're thinking about how crowded some of these rooms are, and some of the guys that we have on special teams like Carter Coughlin, Cam Brown, these guys that cost you a little bit more money because they're so good at what they do. But are you looking to replace and save some money with those guys by filling the roster up with some special teams guys? But you know, that's going to be the video on the last 4 picks, day 3. Again, 2023 is in the books. Now it's time to see who the UDFAs are, and I wrote down a pretty good list of UDFAs that I think the Giants might be interested in. And just thinking about it really quickly, just some names that I saw. Cornerbacks, you got Rajon Wright out of Oregon State, Eli Ricks out of Alabama, Garner out of LSU. I also was looking at some of the outside linebackers. You got Lonnie Phelps, that's there. He's from Kansas. You have Andre Carter from Army, which surprised me, because prior, you know, when getting into the offseason and at the beginning, you know, before the combine and stuff like that, Andre Carter was a intriguing prospect. The guy's 6'7", about 240 pounds, edge rusher with a lot of raw talent, raw ability. And a lot of people had him at like a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. In some cases, early on, he was even seen as a possible 2nd round pick. And for him to go undrafted, I wouldn't be mad kicking the tires on him. Cam Jones is a middle linebacker out of Indiana. Ivan Pace, Jr., another middle linebacker that went undrafted. I think it might have been just his size, him being sub 6 foot, about 230 pounds, but the man can play middle linebacker. And one thing I would say about him is he played next to Darian Beavers, and they're pretty much the same type of linebacker. It's just that Darian Beavers is the size that you're looking for. 6'4", 250 pounds. Pace is 6 foot or just under 6 foot, 230 something pounds. So, but he can play middle linebacker very, very good. So hopefully, he gets picked up somewhere. I wouldn't be mad if the Giants try to pick him up either. Outside of that, safety, Trey Dean from Florida, also the safety from Ohio State, Ronnie Hickman is still available. So I'm just curious to see what happens. Another wide receiver is Bryce Ford Wheaton. He didn't get picked up. I wouldn't mind adding him to the wide receiver room, but again, that room is getting crowded too. And it's funny too because last year we had a whole bunch of undrafted free agents, and we had a few of those guys make the team. This year, with the competition and the roster that Shane and Dable they're building, I don't know how many of these guys are gonna make the team. I don't know if the actual draft picks, if all those guys make the team either. So it's fun when your team is getting better. And the process feels different because you're always looking to improve. I know, but right now there's some guys and some key spots on this team that are just solidified, and you probably can't crack those rooms. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing. But again, competition is competition. We have to fill this 90-man roster going into training camp, and I'm excited to see what happens. Especially because we might hear some news tonight or tomorrow about some of these guys unofficially signing with teams. These are the UDFAs, and the New York Giants are always late releasing information, so we probably won't get an official list probably like Tuesday, something like that. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. I'm going to do a full breakdown of the draft. It probably going to show a little bit of time here, maybe the next couple days, get that out to you guys, and just my thoughts on all the picks from the draft, and if we have some UDFAs at the time, probably go over those too. But again, I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You see the Giantology shirt, go ahead and grab you one below, but the link is below. You see it here in the shop. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.